In the headlines, 1 month to go and no sign of corporate sponsorship for this year's Carnival Queen contestants. The wait is over as Newtown pupils enter a $6 million state-of-the-art school building and a plan to push more local manufacturers on the regional market. I am Andrea Wee with the Channel 5 News, back with the details after this. Thank you for staying with us. We begin with Prime Minister Wed6thJan2k16News, who has announced the government's intention to assist former Prime Minister Patrick John meet medical expenses. Patrick John was admitted to hospital in December with heart complications. He returned to the hospital on January 3rd and on the following day was taken to the intensive care unit. Prime Minister Skerrit says he was informed of the former Prime Minister's illness just after Christmas.
The person who communicated to me on behalf of the wife, I indicated to them that the government will be prepared to fully finance the medical recovery of Mr. Patrick John. And I have also communicated that to the Secretary of the Cabinet, who has been in touch with the family. And we have been in touch with the Mrs. Fabia, who normally coordinates the transportation of people seeking medical care out of Dominica. And we have in fact written to the family indicating that the government is prepared to underwrite the expenses of Mr. Patrick John.
The Prime Minister expressed disappointment with those who have used Mr. John's illness to create controversy.
My position on this is, and as have been demonstrated by this government under my leadership, is that we have been very generous in assisting people to seek medical care overseas, even when that policy has been heavily criticized by members of the opposition. But I will not allow anybody to be denied access to medical care if the person requires it, and especially in the case of a former Prime Minister. The family is aware. We have communicated that to the family in many different mediums, but the Secretary of the Cabinet is the one coordinating this on behalf of the Office of the Prime Minister.
Next, we go to Carnival organizers who continue to be challenged with getting sponsorship to stage activities. However, they say the show must go on. A month and 1 day away from the Miss Dominica pageant, and sponsorship has not been announced for any of the 6 contestants vying for the title. The budget for each Queen contestant is $15,000. At a Carnival news conference on Wednesday, there were continuous appeals for the corporate community to support Miss Dominique 2016.
We're looking for sponsorship for our Queen contestants. Over the years, the Dominica Festival Commission, the DDA, has organized the Queen show at not a profit but a loss. It's a show that every other Dominican wants to come to, especially the demographic that we work with. So we will have to get the show going. It may not be at the level that we'll want to because of the lack of sponsorship, but the DFCDDA will, together with the headline sponsor Flo, will do as much as possible. And the girls themselves have been working with the chaperones and working with the team to get ready as much as possible. But definitely the show will go on, but we do need the support because at the end of the day, there are bills to be paid, and the only way we can do that is if we get the financial support and contribution from sponsors in the private sector.
The National Princess Show, carried for January 24th at the Harlem Plaza, is another event experiencing problems obtaining sponsorship. Sponsorship for a contestant is $2,000.
Actually, today marks 18 days away from the show. As you all may know, sponsorship has been kind of difficult for us, like every other entity organizing a carnival activity. We are calling on the public, the general public, the usual sponsors we have to come on board with us, support our girls. Rotaract Club is all about giving back to the community, and we use this show as an opportunity to give back to the community through the funds that we raise.
Meantime, Discover Dominica Authority has introduced an initiative to brand the country's carnival for exposure to the international community.
And what we have been saying is that certain pics you see of Dominica's carnival, there's nothing to identify as Dominica's carnival in those pictures. So what we're doing, we're trying to encourage everyone, the public, persons coming in, bands, groups, floats, costume bands, etc., to have a Dominica flag placed on your trucks where it can be visible, particularly as it relates to being captured by the camera. So at the end of the day, a picture of Dominica's carnival is seen out there, and we know there's some identification that it is the original carnival, Miss Dominique. So we are calling on to all the persons out there, even the retail shops, get your flags out on display so they can be purchased by our local persons.
It was a good day for pupils, parents, and staff of Newtown Primary School. Classes for the Newtown Primary have returned to the school's building at Newtown in an improved setting. The school has been under construction since 2013 by the China Construction International Company Limited as part of a gift to Dominica from the government of the People's Republic of China. During that time, the Newtown primary classes were held at the Teachers College in Bath Estate and downstairs of the Newtown Catholic Church building. The project was completed last year. The $6 million three-story building has 14 classrooms. Following Tropical Storm Erica in August, the Newtown Primary was operating on a shift system at the Bath Estate campus. The shift system was put in place to accommodate pupils of the Wed6thJan Primary because access to their school's building had been compromised by the disaster. The Newtown School serves 350 pupils and 17 teachers. It's the only school on island with an elevator. Plans are afoot to make local agro-processors more export-ready. The Dominica Manufacturers Association will advance an ongoing project for agro-processors this year, seeking to push more local products on the regional market. The non-profit organization, which looks after the interests of the manufacturing sector, is working with public and private stakeholders to advance this goal.
We are working with the Bureau of Standards, with the Ed Bank, with IDA, with the Ministry of Agriculture, with the Ministry of Commerce, and with Dexia. The initiative aims at giving export capacity to a number of selected agro-processors. So it's an in-depth analysis of the potential of some of the agro-processors. We're looking at their products line, what it is today, where we can bring that line of products in a few months, in a year, in 2 years. And what we have to do is an assessment made to find out what needs to be done to give them this export readiness capacity.
The plan is to target neighboring French islands.
We're trying not to push products that will be in direct competition with the production of those islands. And this is where the excellent relationship that the DMA has with the Manufacturers Association in Guadeloupe and Martinique kicks in. So selected products, I think our soaps can do extremely well on those markets. For example, our virgin coconut oil as well.
Bonnet says budgets have been outlined for that project.
It's the very first time that you have so many different stakeholders, public, private, working together and towards really making something that would be tangible, because we are very result oriented. What we want to do is to give those companies ability to increase their sales, become sustainable, and actually increase their revenues, but also the revenues of the state, because we're going to improve exports.
Coming up, we take you to the Berrien Christian Academy's new home in Bath Estate.
Flashback, a look at events of the past in Dominica. Watch every Wednesday during Mapping's Channel 5 News.
Have you paid your mapping bill? The 10th of the month is disconnection. Upon disconnection, visit Mapping's main office. You will be required to pay off your balance and the reconnection fee. Reconnections will be done within 72 hours. So, avoid getting disconnected. Pay your mapping bill on time, because life is better with mapping.
Welcome back. Showdown Mass Camp will start this Calypso season with reformed management, and under the watch of its new manager, Dr. Valda Henry, a code of conduct has been set for Calypsonians. Businesswoman Dr. Valda Henry says she has volunteered her services to coordinate the Calypso tent since she was displeased with the quality of the product.
I was part of the initial mass camp in the early years. And mainly through PCWS and, other commitments, I kind of took a backstage. And last year, I went to the first mass camp. And I had not gone maybe for about 2 years. And I was not happy with the product that I saw, with the performances. And I said that was not mass camp. That was not the mass camp that I knew.
Businessman Steve Astefan, attorney Singola Bloomquist Williams, businesswoman Annette Saint-Hilaire, and Johnson Boston are part of the new management team. Among the new initiatives the team has introduced is a code of conduct for everyone involved in the operations of mass camp.
I felt that one of the reasons, and it's no secret, that our former mass campers, if there was any dispute, even before they came to the management of mass camp of the disputes, you would first hear it on the radio. And I think that's just totally unacceptable. And so the code of conduct is going to address those issues, I believe. So there will be, and the code of conduct includes an oath of secrecy. It includes things like practice time and rehearsal time and starting time. It includes relationship with each other, relationship with others. All of those things that we expect all of us to adhere to, both within and outside of the camp. And we felt that that's important to ensure, greater accountability, greater transparency, greater governance, and consequently a better performing team and camp.
The Berean Christian Academy has officially moved its academic operations to Bathurst State. When Tropical Storm Erica hit the island in August, the school and the church, which were located on Goodwill Road, suffered significant damage. Following the storm, classes were held at the Calypso House in Bathurst State. However, the Berean Christian Academy is now fully operational at its own property, which is also in Bathurst State.
The river undermined the wall, and it destroyed the wall, and then it came in until it encroached on our building, and the wall, the south wall of our building, collapsed, and pretty much the church was destroyed as far as us being able to have school there. The present location we're at right now, we had a small building, about 650 square feet. We opened in March of 2015, and we had our kindergarten class there because we didn't have space for them at the building we had on Goodwill Road. So we were thankful that we were able to move the students here to this location.
While the school is functioning at full capacity, the number of pupils attending has declined.
Well, what we did is we extended the building to the back, and we extended by 1,200 square feet to be able to house. So in January, all the students were able to be moved into just that one location. Right now, currently, we have a population of 46 students. It has decreased since Erica. We lost approximately 20 students. And I know it's out of the way for some of the parents, so what we do is at the end of the school day, we do transport the children to Roseau and have a designated location.
Thomas says a lot more work has to be done to accommodate the church section, which was also lost as a result of Erica.
Well, this is just a temporary solution. We are going to add on to this building and build classrooms so that the school actually has classrooms. But first we have to add on to the top because the church was displaced as well. So we'll be building an auditorium upstairs that will house the church as well as student activities that we have as well.
The school was able to expand on the physical structure in Bathurst State through fundraising and donations from local and overseas-based sponsors. A local modern artist who studied in China promotes a different type of art as he hopes to get more young people involved in arts in Dominica. Lurian Graham Carter reports.
Shadrach Burton spent 8 years in China pursuing his bachelor's and master's in art after he developed a passion for it from an early age. Burton, who is now 29, says he has been painting actively from the age of 8 with a collection of over 2,000 paintings. He says although he does traditional paintings, he is focused on contemporary art with the use of technology to do some of his pieces.
I just try to be as expressive and as creative as possible. So I try to come up with things that are not really what you see every day or not what you're just like copying from your environment. I try to be more creative. I like to sometimes stick stuff to my canvas or to add something that's more, not really what you expect to see there. For example, the one behind us with the phone cards, it's just it's just about me making a statement about the environment and like protecting the environment. Oh, sorry. But also what we're doing is like recycling. So you're using something that has no use and taking it to make art. So it's like you're giving it a new use again.
Burton says there are definitely areas that need improvement in Dominica to boost the art industry. Currently, there is no National Art Museum or Art District in Dominica. He says since he returned 5 months ago, he has been promoting his artwork and hopes to teach soon.
I'll also try to get into teaching and just spreading the knowledge. So for now, it's just basically contributing to the development of the country right now. I've always been into teaching. Like when I was 17, I was a high school teacher in grammar school. I did that for a few years. Then in China, I was also into teaching. Like I would often teach little children painting and English. I was doing a lot of American English. And now I'm back here, of course, I want to continue it because it's something that I think is very rewarding, just to see that young mind, that young person, you have an impact on their life and you see them grow up into somebody who makes a meaningful contribution to society. You know? So it's quite rewarding to see that progress among the youth.
Currently, Burton has over 50 pieces of art displayed at the Loft Art Gallery and Cafe in Newtown next to the Suki's gas station. Lurian Graham Carter, Channel 5 News.
And Executive Director of Lifeline Ministries says victims of deceased serial rapist Kurt Shaba James have mixed feelings about his death.
Wanted rapist, thief and suspected murderer Kurt James was gunned down on Sunday in Antigua when police there tried to arrest him to deport him to Dominica. The man who went by the nickname Shaba was notorious for allegedly luring young women in pretending to have messages for people they knew. Tina Alexander is part of the support team for several of the victims of the rapist.
We have one girl where he raped her when she was 13 and she's now 19. And she still hadn't been in high court. So they were relieved that the court cases, maybe they won't have to go and be exposed publicly and talk about it. On the other hand, almost feeling like it's sad in a way that we didn't get the day in court to expose what this person's been doing so that other women could come forward and say, it wasn't just you, it was me too.
She says these people sometimes need to have their stories told to encourage other survivors to come forward.
I asked everybody yesterday, how would you feel if you knew that the man who abused you was dead? And several of them said they wish that the person could die horribly because they're still very angry. And when you're very angry, what can you do?
Alexander says this case raised some issues concerning the court system in Dominica.
Our court system, there's something the matter with it, that this case could have been adjourned so many times. And I'm actually pleased that this is the end of it for this particular individual. He was very dangerous. He was a repeat offender. Society needed to be protected from him. And therefore, I felt pleased that it was an end to that and I don't have to be warning people all the time. Sadly, he's not the only person, though.
She encourages people to continue warning women and girls to be aware of their surroundings and the people they trust. Lurian Graham Carter, Channel 5 News.
That's news. Your sports highlights next with Kenny Williams.
Hello everyone and thanks for joining us. We begin with cricket. Chris Gayle has found himself linked with further controversy in the media as another woman has accused him of behaving inappropriately towards her. According to a report by Fairfax Media, an Australian company, Gayle incidentally exposed himself to a woman during the 2015 World Cup in Sydney, but the superstar has firmly denied any such allegations. The Australian woman, who was reportedly working with the West Indian cricket team during last year's mega event, told Fairfax that Gayle allegedly removed his towel in the dressing room and asked her, "Are you looking for this?" The incident was apparently reported to the team manager Richie Richardson, who is believed to have then emailed the squad asking players to respect women. A statement from Gayle's agent Simon Ottery read, "It is important that anyone seeking to make false accusations against Chris is aware that Chris and his management will be considering all rights and legal options available." Moving along to more cricket news. For the first time in more than 25 years, 2 consecutive days of rain in Test cricket made it impossible for players to take the field of play. Only 68 balls were possible on day 2 before the 3rd and 4th day of play were completely abandoned due to persistent rainfall. West Indies on 248 for 7 will go into the 5th day of play against Australia. James Patterson picked up 2 for 67 and Nathan Lyon 2 for 78. Possible showers have been forecasted for the 5th day of play. However, Australia will lift the Frank Worrell Trophy at the end of day 5, regardless of what happens on the field, having earned a 2-0 lead from their wins in Hobart and Melbourne. And on to Cape Town now, where England and South Africa battled to a draw in their second test match. At one point, the home team was struggling to keep up with the visitors. However, the South Africans showed some good fighting spirit in their first innings to end on 627 for 7 declared. In the second innings, England was 159 for 6, with Johnny Bracewell scoring 30, Joe Root 29, James Taylor 27 and Ben Stokes 26. Still in cricket, former acting stadium manager Joseph Thomas says it's no surprise that Dominica is not hosting the Nagico Super 50 since he believes some of the facilities at the stadium need improvement.
We are not in for Super 50. We do not have the quality lighting for Super 50. That must be an established fact as well. That although we have lights at Windsor Park, they're not sufficient enough, to hold a tournament of that magnitude, and probably that is why Dominica has missed out.
The first round of the tournament is carded for Trinidad and St. Kitts. Windward Volcanoes versus Guyana Jaguars and Leeward Island Hurricanes versus combined campuses and colleges will go head-to-head in St. Kitts on Thursday. In football, action continues in Division 1 football as 2 matches are on the cards for Thursday.
On Thursday, Mao Soka Strikers will come up against Glanville Renegades at the Benjamin Park in Portsmouth, while at the Pori Plainfield, Kinfield Football Club will battle Element Agency's LA Stars. Both matches begin at 6 p.m.
And finally, Secretary of the National Anti-Doping Committee, Jacinta Banis, says her team stands firm in their fight against the misuse of drugs in sports and encourages athletes to be responsible. The National Anti-Doping Committee is responsible for ensuring that athletes perform properly without the use of illegal drugs and performance enhancers.
We did a number of workshops for athletes, and we are also in the process of putting a program together to continue that work.
She says the doping problem is a serious issue and local sporting personnel need to make responsible decisions.
We know what is happening in the world of sports with athletes, and there are certain substances that are banned. If you know about WADA, the World Anti-Doping Agency, there are new laws and new measures that they are put in place, and we are putting together a program so we can inform our public on our sports people on a zonal level. So that will come not from the drug prevention unit, but from the organization that I am part of, the National Anti-Doping Committee. So this year we're going to focus on bringing information to our sportsmen and women.
Banis says disseminating the information on doping to the athletes is important since they need to be aware.
You have to give them the information. You have to provide the information because it has to be something that they have to know before, because there are certain substances that are banned. And probably you might not even know that these are banned substances, but in the program that we want to do, we want to help them to identify the substances. There's out of testing competition going on. They will just pick up an athlete and then do the testing. So you have to be on the alert because they cannot tell you when they come in to test you.
That's all the time we have for sports. I am Kenny Williams. Join us again next time.
Time now for your first flashback segment of 2016.
Happy New Year and welcome to another episode of Flashback, where we take you way back into interesting news events which took place in Dominica in the past. In this week's Flashback, we are diving into our news archives from 1997, when the concern for the need of a drug rehabilitation facility was brought up by a Peace Corps and prison officer. Let's take a look.
There's been another call for authorities here to think seriously of setting up a drug rehabilitation centre to deal with some of Dominica's drug problems. The latest appeals for such a centre come from 2 counsellors here who work closely with drug offenders at Dominica's prison. Steve Chaplin, a United States Peace Corps volunteer, and prison officer Mervyn Paul are both attached to the Stock Farm facility. They say it's becoming clearer that prison is not the best place for drug offenders.
Well, our main goal really is to turn the recidivism of the drug addicts that are going in and out of prison back and forth, absolutely doing nothing for society. What we'd like to do is take that and turn it around and rehabilitate them in a 24/7 therapeutical a center that they will be able to spend 6 or 8 months and turn that around and actually be a productive member of society.
We felt that there's been a lot of talk about, you know, why so many people come to prison, but nothing really is being done. And I feel that, you know, probably trying to write up some kind of project and present the government, showing them that some kind of rehab center or residential treatment center or institution would help in reducing the rate of recidivism and the congestion in the prisons. We see a number of young people on the streets resorting to the sale of drugs because of the unemployment problem, the economic situations, and we also see people not being able to handle stressful situations. Probably, family structures get broken down, and as a result, they resort to drug, thinking they're going to ease up their problems, and that doesn't happen. And so we have a number of our young people finding their lives being destroyed. And I think a center where you have 24/7 therapy, you have somebody resident at least for 6 to 8 months, and we've trained people, giving back to them what probably they've lost along the way. I think you have a better chance of sending such people back into the community to be reliable and work and become productive in the community that they once lived.
Fast track to 2016. A quick walk around the town will unveil a true reflection of the drastic increase in the number of addicts and mentally ill persons in Dominica. There is still no facility directed at drug rehabilitation on the island. Families who are able to afford are forced to seek assistance from nearby islands. Upon requesting information from the parties who could comment on the status of a drug rehabilitation facility project, it was informed that there is still no definite plans. There is also hope that this issue, which is of great importance, will be visited in the not too distant future. Thanks for joining us on this week's Flashback. I am Janik Delmar Samuel. See you next week.
It might be a good idea to take your umbrella or coat with you as you leave home. Your weather report is next.
Hello, good evening. Welcome to tonight's weather broadcast. I will be your presenter for this evening, Farah Rock Career. Today, weak unstable conditions resulted in mostly cloudy skies across the region. Earlier visible satellite imagery showed some low-level clouds across Dominica and the rest of the islands of the Lesser Antilles. Earlier radar imagery indicated shower activity across the islands of the Lesser Antilles. The weather tonight is expected to be partly cloudy to occasionally cloudy with a few scattered showers. These conditions will persist into tomorrow. All users of the sea are advised to exercise caution. Sea conditions will be moderate and waves are expected to be up to 8 feet. What can we expect for the next 3 days? Well, tomorrow, Thursday, occasional cloudy skies with a few scattered showers. An improvement is expected Friday into Saturday, and also a decrease in wind speed as the week progresses. For the rest of the Caribbean tomorrow, occasional cloudy skies with scattered showers are anticipated as weak unstable conditions will continue to dominate weather conditions. The international city forecast: partly cloudy skies across New York and Miami are expected, and some partly cloudy conditions with some showers in London, and beautiful clear skies are anticipated for Caracas and Beijing. The sun will rise tomorrow at 6:34 a.m. and will set at 5:50 p.m. Feel free to visit our website at weather.gov.dm or call the weather hotline at 447-5555. Join us tomorrow evening for your next weather broadcast. Thank you.
To end the news, the headlines again. 1 month to go and no sign of corporate sponsorship for this year's Carnival Queen contestants. The wait is over as Newtown pupils enter a $6 million state-of-the-art school building, and a plan to push more local manufacturers on the regional market. Email us at news@marpin2k4.com. You can also access our past newscasts on our YouTube page. On behalf of the entire production team, I am Andrea Lee. Thank you for watching. Join us tomorrow.